guys, and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. So today's video is actually going up a day late. I usually like to do my weekly check-ins on Thursdays, but we have been really busy trying to get all of the mystery kit vault orders done, so sorry about that. It just means that all the videos are going to be pushed back one day. So today will be the weekly check-in, and then tomorrow on Saturday I will post my plan with me. So hopefully we'll get back on schedule, but for the time being we're going to focus on our weekly check-in. So for my weekly check-in, I really like to focus on looking at my variable expenses as well as my sinking funds, just to get an idea of where we're at and how we're doing so far. So the categories that I like to track for weekly check-ins are groceries, eating out, household, gas for our cars, and then anything that may be unbudgeted. And all of those categories I track on my monthly view, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip over there. I'll try and be good about like going back and forth between zooming in and zooming out, but it's kind of difficult. Okay, so I've mentioned this before, but I do currently use the monthly expense tracking stickers. I'm trying it out for 2023. I really like that it matches my like monthly view. So that is what we're gonna do. So this peach color is going to be groceries. So you can see we had some grocery expenses. Eating out is going to be in this like more medium blue. Household is in this mint color. And then gas for my car is going to be in the like more navy color. Okay, so as I was going through those, I realized I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I had a household expense from Target that I forgot to record. So I went ahead, grabbed my receipt, and put that in. So before we get into it, a couple things. I have been keeping track of some unbudgeted items over here. We'll go into that. Jason also is really bad about remembering to carry cash. He keeps most of his allowance at home because he doesn't like to carry a lot of cash. And Jason is not a big spender, so he usually has quite a bit of his allowance like left over from prior months. So anyway, what I decided to do is not only keep track of like any reminders for myself on the notes section, but I'm also going to keep track of unbudgeted items and also anything that Jason may need to reimburse me for. So that is something that we'll talk about in a little bit. The other thing I wanted to say, in December I felt very overwhelmed with budgeting. I'm not going to lie. I know a lot of you guys like when I'm honest with you guys regarding budgeting, because like part of my business is about budgeting and like, you know, trying to sell budget kits. But I feel like I'm one of those people, I love budgeting. I really do. I truly do. I love seeing what we're bringing in and how we're spending it and trying to like utilize our funds to really put my family into a good position, whether that be like having fun and getting to be able to do fun things, or saving money, or putting more towards retirement, or whatever it may be. But I would be lying if I said that sometimes budgeting is overwhelming, sometimes budgeting is like daunting. It's not what I want to do. And so in 2023, I decided what I'm going to do, at least in January, is I'm going to every single day pick up my budget planner and record transactions. That way I'm not feeling overwhelmed. That way it doesn't feel so daunting. And honestly guys, the last week that I've been doing it, I feel like now I don't get stressed when I think about budgeting. I don't feel stressed about my January budget, even though we've had a lot of things happen already so far in January. So that is something that I would recommend if you're feeling overwhelmed. If you were in the same position that I was in December and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many transactions, so many things going on, sit down, take a look at your budget planner and try and do it on a daily basis. I think that makes a world of a difference. So let's get into it. I have my calculator here. I'm gonna start with groceries. So we had Aldi $85.56 and then Jewel $21.91. And what I like to do is I like to mark them off as I'm going. So I know that I recorded those two and that comes up to $107.47. So let's switch over here and record that. So we spent $107.47. We budgeted a total of $875, so I'm going to subtract out $875, which means that we have $767.53. And I like to take a look at this in terms of how many weeks we have remaining. So Jason normally goes grocery shopping on Tuesdays, so we're just gonna count the number of Tuesdays. So 1, 2, 3, 4, divide that number by 4, and that means that we have roughly $192 per week going forward. So just to give you guys some reference, we do budget $75 per week. So that means that we're doing really well. We definitely have quite a bit left. Over what we, normally would have budgeted, so that's great. With that too, Jason did pick up a bunch of like things that we like to stock up on, and we only do that like once every so often. So we're in really good shape there, which makes me feel really nice starting off in January. Okay, so let's move on to eating out. We only had one eating out expense, and that was at Culver's. That was $22.22. Me and Jason decided to go out to lunch that day, and it was actually really nice to go out without the girls and just have a peaceful lunch, even though it wasn't anything fantastic. Like, it wasn't a like super fancy lunch. It was just really nice to get out and do that, because we've had the kids around, for a while now, like with them being home from school and stuff. So we have $277.78 remaining, and I'm going to take a look at the number of weekends. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 weekends remaining, which means that we have about $69 per week. So we're in really good shape there. Household, like I mentioned, we just had that one expense at Target. That was $21.87. I needed to grab some like toilet bowl cleaner supplies, and then just some other random stuff. I think the girls needed mouthwash and that type of stuff. So we spent $21.87, and we had $150 budgeted. So we currently have $128.13 remaining. And I don't look at that per week because we don't pick up certain things on a weekly basis. So I don't need to worry about that. And then in terms of gas, Jason did fill up on gas. That was $39.64. And let's see what I budgeted for that. Gas, we budgeted $200. So 200 minus $39.64, we have $160.36 remaining for gas. And again, I don't look at that per week, but it is interesting because I've noticed by having my variable expenses on my monthly view, I've noticed that Jason tends to fill up every week, whereas my car is more every 2 weeks. So it just gives me a really good idea and picture of like, okay, how often are we filling up? How often is each car needing gas? And that just gives me the ability to make more informed decisions when it comes to budgeting, because I know like, okay, if I can expect every 2 weeks, he'll probably fill up on the 19th and then most likely on the 2nd as well. But that is a trend that I'm going to continue to keep an eye on, just to see if that's a common thing or if that was just during the holidays, all of that type of stuff. Okay, so we've gone through most of the variable expenses. The one thing that we need to take a look at is unbudgeted. So I've gotten a couple questions on my January budget video, so I figured I'd really quickly address a couple things. Okay, so first thing, I forgot to include Mila Swim in my January budget. That's probably because when I created my budget, I was looking at my 2023 budget to like kind of base the numbers off of. And at that point, we didn't have Mila signed up in swim. So her swim class is going to be $115 per month going forward. That is something that I 100% think is worth it for her. She is home with Jason on Thursdays because she doesn't have school those days. And she loves swim. She is doing so well. So that's $115 that's unbudgeted. I also did not include Amazon Prime in my budget, and that's because I decided to switch to the annual amount. I think I saw like when I was switching that it was going to save us $40 or so per month. Or sorry, not per month, per year. So I just decided to switch. That was $139. Going forward, I think I'm going to most likely put together a sinking fund for that, just so that like when that comes due, I have the money. And then Hulu, I'm so upset about this. But anyway, that brings us to a total of $259 for unbudgeted. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to right next to them put a little check mark. That way I know that I recorded those. So far unbudgeted is $259. But what I was gonna say about Hulu is I actually had someone comment on one of my videos saying, hey, I think Hulu went up. And I'm like, oh no, like I would have gotten a notification, right? Like there's no way that they're just going to increase it and not let me know. Also, I thought I just signed up like a month or two ago. Like there's no way they're going to increase your amount when you just signed up. Well, they did. So now it's $5 more expensive. And honestly, I know $5 is not that much, but I just feel like it's kind of annoying that everything keeps going up, but I feel like for what you're getting, you're not getting that much more. I don't know. It's just kind of annoying to me that they switched it and they didn't let me know, and they switched it when I just signed up. That's kind of frustrating. Okay, so now moving on to sinking funds. We've definitely had some transactions for sinking funds. I've already gone through our beginning balances and kind of discussed that in my January budget video, so definitely go ahead and check that out. So I did get reimbursed for Macy's Christmas party, which was really nice. That was $74.32. We unfortunately are having some issues with our furnace, and so Jason went to a couple stores and attempted to fix it on his own. He spent $52.07 and $5.36 on different parts. Those parts he installed and it still wasn't really working, so he contacted a company to come out and take a look. And so we're gonna skip down to $535.50. That is the deposit for the furnace repair. Apparently we need a new circuit board, I think. We do have an older furnace. It's probably at the point where it needs to be replaced. And when we purchased our house, we knew that it was a possibility that it would need to be replaced sooner rather than later. It was also not a common thing. It was also the same situation in our old house. Our old house was right at the point where like pretty soon you would need to get a new furnace. And so there's a lot of things in our new house that like were updated that our old house didn't. Like we needed to fix some plumbing, we needed to fix some electrical stuff. All that stuff was taken care of in the new house, but the furnace is an older furnace in the new house. So we are going to attempt to fix the circuit board or whatever it's called. That's going to be a little over $1,000 to repair, and then if that should repair it. But if we keep having issues with it, like where, you know, you need this part and that part, we're just gonna get a new furnace. It stinks because, you know, I think it's going to be over $5,000 to do that. But that is exactly why we have savings. That's why we have an emergency fund, all of that fun stuff, because when you own a house, it's not really an if, it's a when. So, you know, you're always going to need a new roof eventually. You're going to need a new furnace, a new AC. There's always going to be something that comes up. So I just feel really grateful that even though, like, you know, it's stinks to have to get a new furnace or to have to get it repaired, it's really nice that the biggest issue that we have is like, can we find someone that can come out and, like, you know, deciding between the different options. So that is something that we're dealing with. I mentioned in my January budget video, but we also just recently had to replace the motor for our garage. So the house stuff is just insane right now, but that is something that we did. And then I actually took Macy to go get a haircut. Her hair was so long and she has really thick hair. So it was getting to the point where like it was almost impossible to brush it. Like I would have to section it into like a bunch of different sections and like brush it, and it would take forever. She's also been wanting a haircut for a while. So we took her for a haircut. That was $37. I honestly will never go to the place again. If you live in the suburbs of Chicago, let me know where you take your kids for haircuts, because we've gone to a couple different places, and this like particular place that we took her to, the last time we went, we were not impressed, but Macy wanted to go back. And this time the lady was just really rude to Macy. She was like shoving her head forward, shoving her head sideways. She was just like kind of scolding her for like putting her head up, and it's like, this is a kid's salon. I understand like cutting kids' hair is like difficult. They're always moving, but like this is literally your job, is to cut kids' hair. So it was just a really bad experience. I was seconds away from just being like, okay, Macy, we're just gonna walk out, because I don't want her to ever feel like that's how someone can treat her just because she's a kid. Like it was just really bad. Anyway, we did that yesterday. Her hair looks adorable, but I will never go back to that place again. And then I took her out for Cinnabons. Like they have a little donut hole type of thing. So that was $9.84. That came out of entertainment. Going to get our haircut made me realize we don't really have a haircut section. Like me and Jason both get cash for our, like, I get a wax and Jason gets his haircut, but we don't really have a place for like my haircut or for Macy or Mila's haircuts. So I took it out of beauty this time, but if I'm going to keep including haircuts in beauty, I'm going to have to increase it because I did not account for haircuts in that section. But anyway, that is our sinking fund log for now. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to hear a little bit about our week. And again, I will try and get these back on schedule and back on Thursdays. But I hope you guys enjoyed getting to see a little bit about our finances this week. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.